Hello everyone. Do you know what is stereotype? Stereotype means that a fixed idea or image that many people have of a particular type of person or thing, but which is often not true in reality. Things you got wrong about other nations. Every country has its own unique national traditions that distinguish them from others, but sometimes their little things quickly became a merit to judge the whole nation. In most cases, they are based on distorted facts and are not true. In this video, we interviewed Korean, Japanese, and Chinese and asked them what stereotypes they had about other countries. Then we list these stereotypes and let the foreigners talk about each stereotype of their own country, or find some information to tell people whether they are correct. Let's begin with China. As for China, the first thing I remember is that Chinese mathematics is very good. When I was in college, I took math-related courses with Chinese students in my class. We got good grades and had a high understanding ability. And second, I think prices in China are relatively low. I have traveled to China before. The food, transportation, and hotels are cheaper. So I feel very happy to travel in China. And next, I think Chinese people like drinking tea and hot water very much. When I traveling to China, hot water or hot tea is given to every restaurant. When I asked them for ice water and they said no, I was very surprised. Many people think that, first, Chinese people are good at math. Hello, do you think you are good at math? My math is not good. Many foreigners think that Chinese people are good at math, but not all Chinese people. When I was high school, my worst course is math, although I tried my best. Second, things are cheaper than other countries. I think Chinese price is high. In the past, because China has a lot of cheaper labor, and the main part is manufacturing, so everything is cheaper. But in recent years, these manufacturing industries have shifted to Southeast Asian countries, and China has also turned to science and technology. And with the development of science and technology as the main direction, so prices have risen a lot in comparison. Third, Chinese people like to drink hot water. Drinking hot water is a good habit for Chinese people, especially for women. My mother never let me drink ice water since I was a child. What stereotypes do you have about Japan? I think Japanese are long life expectancy. Japanese are very polite. They have a high technology. I heard they use robots in hospital. Many technologies bring convenience for people. Many people think that Japanese live longer. When we tap which country has the highest life expectancy in 2018 on Google, we can see that Japan ranks second with an average life expectancy of 85. And second, Japanese are polite. It's correct, Japanese are very polite. In addition to using honorifics, this can be reflected in many aspects. For example, if your job is in services industry, it will be documented in the network system. If you are rude to your guest, it will be recorded in this system. And if you want to continue in the services industry, you won't be hired in many service industry. Third, Japan is well developed in technology. Japanese technology is very developed. For example, when I go to Tokyo, the door of taxis are all automatic. Toilets are particularly humanly. There are many functions, such as noise prevention and flushing. But not all cities in Japan are like this. When I go to Osaka, Hokkaido, and other places, There won't be a lot of advanced technology in these places. Let's talk about Korea. I think they have high pleasure on work. They work a long time. Men are strict and they do nothing at home. First, Koreans work long hours. Let's take a look who works the most hours every year. Mexico ranks number 1, and the second is South Korea. In the OECD organization, the working hours of Koreans have been high. Second, Korean men are male chauvinism. As we all know, South Korea is one of the countries of patriarchal society. As the Korean dramas or variety shows, at the parties like festivals, almost all food is for women, and men do nothing. Almost all men have a much higher status than women. And in my family is the same. My father does nothing at home. All the housework is done by my mom. Recently, more and more couples are working. And with the development of the trend of equality between men and women, men's status is more and more equal to women. And housework is also undertaken by both men and women. Look, the stereotypes we hold are not very accurate. The positive impact of stereotypes is also reflected on strangers. It's impossible to observe every aspect in detail. That is to say, we can only choose stereotypes by first impressions or incomplete information and apply them to this strange object. So people do not need to make a detailed recognition of an object, which is to judge a certain kind of people with many similarities within a certain range. Without exploring information, they can draw conclusions directly according to established fixed views, which simplifies the cognitive process and saves a lot of time and energy. The first is the problem of overgeneralization. Stereotype is a simple application and generalization, but it often has no reliable basis. But for a long time, people have been reinforced by false statements, media reports, and personal contacts with individuals of this group, and gradually formed a deep-rooted stereotype. Even thought that the people of this group have a specific personality. The second problem is the expansion of the first problem, which is that stereotypes sometimes lead to racial hatred. So, overgeneralization will grant the impression of a certain race on everyone of that race. As mentioned earlier, stereotype is a situation caused by inadequate access to information. That is, as long as we know this object well, it will not lead to stereotypes being implied to everyone in a group. Therefore, it's a good way to understand through direct contact, the third kind of contact and other method. Generally speaking, stereotypes have a negative impact on people. How to eliminate stereotypes is mainly through the understanding of information, which also means the importance of the media to disseminate information. Here, the media shouldn't only maintain the authenticity and objectivity of information. Media also has responsibility to spread the correct information and let people reduce the incorrect stereotypes. How can we objectively participate in the online life and avoid the stereotype of the network? First, for the media content, we should be alert to the phenomenon of group collaborative filtering. We often say that we are like-minded. In the real life, we are more willing and easier to communicate with people with similar views and common languages. Nowadays, the recommendation technology of the network is based on the collaborative filtering of the influence of user groups. In order to expand the publicity through the collaborative filtering of the group, mobilize the attention of social media, and make the content highly homogeneous. Based on the common interest and knowledge range, it strengthens the inherent viewpoint, easily leads to narrow vision, difficult rational dialogue, and also leads to enlargement and more face of one's own viewpoint. Believing in one's own point of view is correct, even produces some fanatical and paranoid behavior and forming group polarization. So we must be alert to the problem of group collaborative filtering for network information. Second, for the media form, different media report forms are also different. Different media have different prejudices. For example, newspapers have time deviations, and they can't report the latest news immediately compared with online news. Then the network media may not have strict logical thinking. Every social group has their own way of life and way of thinking, but they also have different interests. Therefore, when expressing social opinions, they always look at the problem from their own point of view and position. Most of them are prejudiced against their feelings and often show prejudice. In order to reduce the influence of stereotype on judging things, we should obtain information through different channels, understand different opinions and bases of different people, and then make our own judgment. Finally, we need to recognize the need to overcome stereotypes. In most cases, stereotypes are not based on direct experience or factual material, but on prejudice or hearsay. So stereotypes are often inaccurate or even harmful. So we should overcome stereotypes in our daily life and interpersonal communication. And we should always remind ourselves not to let temporary stereotypes affect us and make judgment. In the process of dealing with affairs and making friends, we should give ourselves and others more understanding and support, more time and patience to make judgment, and remind ourselves to be rational and not to be influenced by stereotypes. We also should get rid of the old thinking habits in the process of dealing with affairs and making friends. Everyone's life and work will form their own thinking habits. The rapid development of society and the rapid change of information make us understand that some of habits of thinking often affect our friendship and understanding of new things. So we need to constantly update our thinking habits, adapt to social development and life changes, get rid of the old mode of thinking.